Good afternoon, I'm Halina. Today I have a charming Ukrainian clairvoyant woman, energy healer Miss SoFeya, as my guest. Greetings.
Greetings, Helena. Hello, viewers. I'm very happy to be your guest.
Thank you. How are you feeling today?
The mood is great despite the fact that the weather is not very good.
Well, April has begun, so everything will bloom, both you and I, and the weather. God bless. Miss SoFeya, that's the first question. We are now living at the turn of the eras. Could you tell our viewers in more details which era is ending and which era is beginning?
I don't like to give any definitions, any specifics. We just have one time that ends and something completely new begins. Usually during this period, when change occurs, things happen that we don't understand, or nature begins to surprise us. Also, in politics and in every country, some problems appear, some situations that completely change everything. Things are happening that we don't understand. What is happening now? The time has come to change the era of consumerism, the era of benefit, to a new era that has two branches of reality. Or perhaps people will start living divided into two different castes, you could say so. People who think and people who don't think. People who feel with their hearts and people who don't have thoughts through their hearts. There is digitalization, right? When everything is connected to cameras, to surveillance, to new technologies. And there is another part when a person develops his spiritual, so much a state that will be able to read minds at a distance, communicate with nature, feel the earth, animals, and plants, and will not need any control, will not want it, will want to be free. I am for combining one world with another, not becoming completely dependent on modern technologies.
For a healthy balance, right?
Yes, so that everything we do it sincerely, so that first of all, we are true to ourselves.
Yes, the most important judge is the one in the mirror.
In fact, it has already happened that karma is very fast now. Why is our life so intense that a person lives 10 or 20 or even more lives in one life? Many relationships, many job changes. As once a person was born, so a tailor died. Yes, born a baker, died a baker. And now a person has a lot of freedom, can develop, can choose, has a choice. And that's why karmically we go through everything very quickly and we have to draw conclusions from it very soon. Because I understand that this way you will quickly catch up all of the time for this to happen, the so-called planetary transition, where there will be no one living only for profit, but will live through their heart.
Thank you very much for this answer. You are, of course, an energy healer. You read my thoughts. Until my next question. The second question will be about the karmas of countries. Do you believe that each country has its own mission right now? If so, then let's talk a little more about the mission of Ukraine right now.
Yes, look, each person came with his own personal karma. That's how many of us there are. We each have our own personal issues. We have to solve them correctly in a different way than, for example, in past bodies, draw conclusions, feel we are in the same territory and we are also gathered. Well, the egregor, yes, of Ukraine. There is a certain territory that also has its own historical achievements. What do we have as Ukrainians? We have what the last time we were at the peak of our prosperity was in Kievan Rus, right? This is the thousandth year, somewhere there, 1,200. Then it already begun, and the decline begun, the changes. It began for invasion, and to this day, or for the last 400 years, we have been in constant war, especially with Russia. We are constantly being conquered. Various wars are being fought over us.
We are in a defensive position, yes?
Yes, but what is happening now? Ukrainians should feel like Ukrainians, because in Soviet times, when there was the Soviet Union, everything was done to make Ukrainians forget who they are, their history, and their roots. When Ukraine gained independence, it did in a peaceful way, and no one felt the weight of this event. And again, they spoke Russian, especially in the East, where there were many immigrants from Russia in the 1940s. And again, they believed, trusted their neighbor. No one could ever believe that he could attack. No one could ever think. And now the Ukrainian nation is born in a completely different way in the struggle. Everyone wants to speak their native language. Everyone remembered their history. Everyone remembered the history of their family. Everything that happened on this land, we began to gain strength from it and began to defend it. There is also a mistake that we are, again, relying too much on the West.
Partners.
We need to become weapons manufacturers ourselves. And it was a very big mistake not to do this. That's why our future has deteriorated so much that we are now in this situation. We did not understand. We did not become independent. We just lived in this time for our own pleasure. But it can't be like this, because the world, unfortunately, is not like that. We still live in duality. And that is why Ukrainians are now establishing themselves as a nation. Because of this, there have been a lot of crises paid with blood, unfortunately.
Thank you. I am currently in the United States of America, and this is a country where many nationalities live. They have put down roots. We will not go into details how all these nationalities ended up here, but as it is today. What advice would you give to these people of different nationalities in the United States, which is still the world leader, but I see that they have lost their direction. They do not know where to develop. You were talking about Ukraine. Well, Ukrainians find their strengths in their identity. And what should people do here who are surrounded by multinationality, multi-identity, multiculturalism? Where can they draw the strength to move into a higher dimension of consciousness at this time?
Well, yes, you get the idea that we need to develop acceptance of everyone, that people can be different. By the way, this is also waiting us only later. When, for example, the war ends, investments will start to come to us, and a lot of people of different nationalities will come. And then we will face the same choice that someone else from Bangladesh, India, or China will come to work in our country. And we will also face this, but, well, it happened to you sooner, yes, because America started its journey a long time ago. And here there has to be acceptance of the other, but at the same time, not to lose your own.
Uniqueness.
Yes. Identity, to preserve it, but with respect and tolerance to respect all others. Of course, if they do not violate the boundaries, your personal boundaries, as well as a national unit, right? And of course, in America, to orient myself, I would generally, if I lived in such a country, I would definitely study its history of indigenous people, traditions of indigenous people, places of power of indigenous people. This is very important because these places give strength. And you need to thank this land where you are. Through gratitude, acceptance, and love, then harmonious relationships between anyone occur.
It is interesting. First, there is a self-acceptance, then you understand the other, and then there is an interaction.
But yes, everything happens inside us. We don't look outside for answers. All the answers are inside us. And when we tune ourselves into a harmonious state through gratitude and love, because we enjoy what we do, not going to a work you hate, for example. From the fact that you are happy with the birds singing and flowers blooming, walking with your dog, enjoy every minute of it, not worrying about the future, not remembering the past. You simply live in the moment. This is the basis of all philosophies now. So that no fears, worries, and experiences did not knock you out of the state. When you are in that state of love and peace, you cannot do anything wrong because you have good and you can only share it.
But if you radiate love and joy and there are still low vibrational beings around, Ukrainians like no one else feel this. They protect themselves with weapons. How can you protect yourself peacefully, but in such a way that those low vibrational beings don't come across in your field?
Well, in general, if we take a specific person, because there are always some negative events happening around us, there are accidents, there are breakdowns, and there are illnesses. It's all around us. But if you are so self-aware, you will learn in general how this world works, its laws of the universe, not the written laws of the state. Then your reality will pass along such a path that negative events will not come to you. For example, I don't know, I don't want to brag, but it just so happens to me that I just trust the universe, the source of creation, that in my life, everything happens for the best. If I'm in a hurry, I have green lights everywhere at the traffic lights. If there is, for example, I'm driving somewhere to Western Europe, I'm standing at the border, there are several lines. I intuitively choose the one that will arrive fastest. Well, if I have a question, I'll be back in 15 minutes. I get an answer from space, from a billboard, from a call from a friend, or a person I meet. Then everything is built for you. Life starts to go easily, but it is work on yourself. It is work on yourself and studying completely how this world's built. Everything is possible. Has the right to be both evil and good, because for someone, some bad person in their own way pushes them to make some changes, to understand something. That's how it works here.
Yes, thank you very much. I think so too. But we can't give up on karma yet. It still works, right? People from different countries are watching us now. What would you advise them in the face of climate or political changes? How to keep love in their hearts?
Yes, look, we Ukrainians have definitely been through this, and we know. We had the Maidan, the revolution.
You mean revolution, right?
What happened? Everyone united. Everyone united. Everyone started bringing food, bringing clothes. Everyone helped in whatever way they could. The war began. We didn't have any weapons at first, but we united again. We each got weapons wherever we could, Everyone helped whoever had a broken car or ran out of gas. And now the same thing is happening around the world, only everyone goes their own way depending on what he has acquired. That's what karmic knots and karmic products he has. And if we don't drown someone in the same way, because I want to swim out, yes, but on the contrary, we will help each other, then everything will work out. And in any cataclysm, when people unite, they can create a community that will have people with different qualities, with different abilities, and with different things that can be useful at this moment.
Thank you very much. It was extremely interesting to communicate with you. You are a representative, a bright representative of Ukraine. Now Ukraine has something to tell the world, something to share, to advise from its own experience. I am very, very grateful for your time and see you next time, soon.
Thank you very much. I will be happy to come and talk about interesting topics.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.